And I had a guy who launched a couple laundromats. Holy cow. Cash cows.
Oh, dude, it's like
they are
$7.
amazing. And he like did a couple nice ones, and he did them like close to where like commuters or not like travelers, like close to airports, where people were like, hey, like this is, I think it was in Alaska and a couple of places, like people would come to town for like a week or something. So he did all these like nice laundromats,
Like upscale,
a little more upscale, like close where they could come in, they could do laundry. There was like a little bar,
get a
like,
coffee.
work area.
Yeah.
Because like you think you go to Alaska for a week, you're probably
Have a
gonna want to do
mimosa.
laundry one
Yeah.
time, maybe socks, underwear, whatever it is. But he like literally made them for like kind of like national commuters in a sense.
Man.
And
That is
so
brilliant.
good. It was amazing.
That is
Yeah,
genius.
smart dude.
So now, okay, so you've just come back on like off of another whirlwind.
Whew, there we go. Yes.
Dude, how many intensive things have you done in the last 2 months?
A lot. It feels like we did a lot. We did our Fight Club, which was amazing. So we did, man, that was so cool. So CEOs and business owners all over the country flew in. We did it at the amazing Studio West. That was so cool. By the way, such a cool space. That was amazing. And here's what's cool about that environment. Like, I love one-on-one coaching, and there's a certain thing you in a group environment when you have amazing people in the room. Like, what I love about that is like I'm seeing it one way, somebody else is seeing it another way, somebody else seeing it another way. So like not only are you getting my insight, but you're also getting like, hey, I've done this and I've tried this and have you thought about this? So you're getting like it's so powerful because the multiple perceptions you're getting all at one time. And
And you have
so
you have
cool.
your circle of trust thing that you do. where
100%.
Everybody kind of. It's like you go to the party, you put your keys in the basket.
Yeah. No, there's like we're protective of that room. I mean, you saw it's like it's a no assholes room. And I don't care how successful you are. Like you have to have a certain amount of success to get in that room, but success alone doesn't get you in the room, right? Like you got to be the right kind of person. Where like, and it was so great. I mean, Lance was in there, Jordan was in there for one of the days. I mean, and like
because Lance
so
like would do
insights.
like a little.
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
side, like a little side shot of the room. And I'm like, man, I'm jealous AF because I never have the time, or at least that's what it feels like. I never have the time to block out like a full day for this or a full day for that. Because the last time I did that was Leadership Academy.
Yeah.
For TRLP and Metro Techs. And that was when you sign up, it's a 1-year commitment.
You're
and
all in.
one Friday a month,
Yeah.
you literally go off the grid, get on the bus, on the Greyhound bus with the 24 other people, and you turn your phone off. You agree to the whole thing, and it was just like, dude, those first couple of times were just brutal.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And back then, I was just a solo artist. It was like literally, okay, well, if I don't kill anything, then there's nothing for dinner. Which that's a hard thing. And like I mean, I don't know, how do you get people over? Because I'm currently in that where even talking to Lance, whenever you rolled up this morning, it was like, okay, there's 137 things that are currently either on fire, smoldering, or could combust at any second.
So here's what's interesting is like it's almost it used to be a badge of honor to have my phone blowing up and everything else, having all these things going on, and then you get in some of these high level rooms and you're like, oh wait, the badge of honor is actually I've got my shit so dialed in, I don't even need to look at my phone all day. You're like, oh, that's a whole nother level.
Dude,
right?
okay.
Like I've got so many people taking care of my stuff. Like Brad Allen, for instance, he's got his phone mirrored where like his assistant has the exact same thing. So his assistant gets his exact text, his emails, everything else. Like it's a mirror phone, however you do that in the black web. But like he's like, hey, no, it's all good because like anything important came in here, like Steely's looking at it all day long, and he's good, so we can be present for the entire day. Right, so it's like,
Okay,
oh wait,
I
the
need that in my
actual
life.
badge of honor is I can put this thing down for 8 hours and be here. I'm not saying it's always easy, but and I think the other thing too is a lot of those people fly here, so like they come in the night before, maybe we have dinner together, but then that next day they're literally like, our term is like I'm in surgery, meaning like I can't help you. Right, like I'm in my thing. Like you got to figure it out, right?
I got some other shit going on.
Yeah, and literally they're there all day long. And then at 5 o'clock, most of them run. They jump on a plane. They go home. But it's like it's not like a 3-day drawn out thing. It's like boom, you come here, you get the stuff done. We connect. We hug, we handshake, we kick butt, and then you go home.
Well, and like the thing for me that's still difficult, even though now I'm seeing the absolute miracle of virtual assistants.
Yeah.
And,
oh my gosh.
And the ability to, so it's so funny because I have these conversations with Lance and it's like, wow, so something happened, the virtual assistants either took care of or like completely created out of whole cloth or whatever. And I saw it, but it was as if it was me. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I've never had something good happen in the business and it had nothing, I wasn't involved.
Yeah.
There's been all kinds of crazy bad shit or stuff burns to the ground, but it was like, wow, great. That was amazing.
Yes.
And so I think that's kind of what you're talking about, where it's like, okay, they have it so dialed in.
Yeah.
And then there's that precarious thing where like, I'm dialing, but it's like, then it becomes triage.
It's going to take a minute, right? And I was talking to one of my clients yesterday and he goes, man, I just don't know if my, it's like my virtual assistant's a little slow. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I'm having her do like 6 CMAs a day and this, and this, and whatever. And I was like, how long they've been with you? And he's like, well, it's been a week. And I was like, a week? Like, it's going to take a minute. You know what I mean? And now he's like, oh crap. And I was like, well, how much time have they saved you? He's like, oh, well, about like 15, 20 hours a week. Already in 1 week, they're saving that much time? Like,
and in my head, I'm that
it's kind of addicting. It's like, okay, how can I do 3 of these? Like, how much can I do? And that's really, time's unlimited. And when you think about it that way, for $600, I can buy 40 hours.
Yes.
I know that's a little bit of a crude way of thinking about it, but like, for $600, I can buy 40 hours. It's like, how many times can I do that?
Well, and there's an element where it is math. It is literally, okay, how can I, what we were listening to, like before we went on, the idea of exponential versus incremental.
Okay, and you're gonna have to break that down for me like I'm a 3-year-old. You start using big words, and
is it easier to take something that is 75% there and get it to 80 or 85, or is it easier to take something that is at 20 and get it to 50?
Interesting.
Because the math over time, if you had more of the 20s bumping up to 50s, that would be more than just that 10% increase on your 75.
Correct.
And for me, that is absolutely able to be done, or at least I think now.
So like, instead of me trying to increase my effectiveness and efficiency by 2%, can I bring somebody in who's 75% as good as me and give them a crap ton of work?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm getting it.
Yes. And if you already had people on your team that were, and everybody's got a varying, degree of ability and capacity and bandwidth or whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, what if instead of taking this guy who is a total rock star already and like getting him 1x, or 2% better. Yeah. Well, what if you got this person over here that was a third of the way there, but you got them 2x better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now you've literally doubled their output. Didn't have to do anything, because like, how long would it take to drill something in tighter versus just to get them a little bit better?
The interesting thing about that is, as entrepreneurs, we think, well, I don't need to do the easiest way. I just need to do it the best way, right? So like, that almost messes. It's okay to ask yourself, what's the easier way to do this? Is it easier to do this, or is it easier this? Does it take less? Which takes less lift?
Right.
Like, I want to get the plane off the ground. Which way is right? And I think sometimes we almost make it harder on ourselves because we're wired that way.
Well, and again, my Instagram feed is nothing but hustle porn. So
absolutely. That and woodworking. Like, I don't know why it's like, here's how this is made. And I'm like, that's amazing.
What's funny is, like, for me, I'm obsessed with getting a pet raccoon.
I feel like that's a pet raccoon.
Yes.
Raccoons are savage.
They have little hands.
I should have breakfast with the little raccoon.
It's
just
like
sitting across me with this tiny little hands.
There's just something about like the whole thing. They have like these little hands, and like, because if the raccoon was here and he was like just hold the
tiny little baby hands,
and I'd be like waiting for him to talk, because it's like, oh, it looks like he knows what he's doing.
I get it now. I get it.
And so my feed is hustle porn.
All I can imagine is like those like 70s Sears pictures, and it's just you and a raccoon, and like every awkward pose ever with like all the tiny little hands holding things.
On the fence.
Yes,
exactly. The set where it's like a fence post.
And what was over like the families would like stack? You remember those? The families would like there was dad on the bottom, and they would just lay on each other. Like,
they were
who thought that was a great idea? Those were terrible.
Apparently millions. Apparently
every Sears employee.
Well, and somehow or another, we all as a society agreed on that.
Oh yeah,
like, oh, this is how family photos are.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be at my parents' house tomorrow, and there is a wall of shame, which is just every terrible Sears picture.
And I got you by like 10 years, so it's like, I've got like holdovers from the previous generation that like we went through,
the
like,
smoke, and
and everybody in your school pictures. It was like there was school issued haircuts, there were like school issued, everything, and it's just like this crazy cookie cutter thing where it's like, wow. how did we all agree on that? Like, who was the esthetician that said, like, this is it?
This, we got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then you look now and it's like, wow, everything is just like in full color. It's the United colors of Benetton everywhere.
Yes.
And it's like,
it's crazy.
Okay, that seems a little bit more on,
there we go.
You know, on balance, like a little bit more like real life.
Yeah.
But man, everything was manufactured.
That's so true.
You know, like they keep talking about like RFK is going to come in and take all the stuff out of foods, and I'm like, I don't know if my body will know how to react.
Yeah, what is this?
So it's like, wait, you're taking out yellow number 5?
Yeah, I know. That's
wait,
like 5% of my diet is like yellow number 5 and red 48 or whatever.
Petroleum byproducts. I mean, come on now. I always joke and say like, dude, I'm like a child of the '80s, bro, of the '70s and '80s, where it was like, I don't like fruit. I like fruit flavored things.
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely. Yes.
Strawberry. No, Jesus. Yeah. But if you got some like weird roll up or like some weird like sci-fi thing that like a strawberry starburst. Oh my God, I eat a bucket full.
I love my kids like, when will this go bad? I'm like, I don't think that'll ever go bad. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's one of those foods that just lasts forever. Like, that's probably a problem.
It's got we call them preservatives.
Yes.
And other people would call them like industrial runoff.
Yeah. I love this pond. It's always warm. Yeah, we live in Michigan.
Exactly.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so back to
I don't know where we were.
We were.
By the way, did you see the proof that the aliens are coming out of the ocean?
Yes.
I would like to go back and grab that footage from like months ago where I said they were coming up and not down.
Yes.
And just be like, I was right.
Well, there I will say like yes and.
Like
Les McGee would love me for saying that. Yes, and there was like a whole thing where that was like an exercise. Yes, and that interdimensional, because like they've been doing the Congress hearings over the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, wow, because there's a part of me there that is like, I don't know what to make of this.
Do we need to do a formal apology to all the conspiracy theorists? Do we just need to like all collectively just be like, you know what? You were right. Maybe a parade or something. But what I don't get is aliens are coming up. They're here. There's interdimensional, all the other stuff. And yet we got astronauts stuck like this far above the Earth. So we're behind.
Yeah,
we're not doing great.
There's a bunch. So like depending on which rabbit hole on that you would go down, you know, because it's like there is, and I'm actually a fan of the fact. Or not the fact, let's say the hypothetical fact that we faked the moon landing to bankrupt the Soviet Union.
Yes.
Because it's like, that seems like a more practical thing to do than to like think that, oh, we shot a bunch of guys at the moon in a tin can and they made it the very first time. Okay.
And back.
Yes. And it's like,
Yeah, through the thing that lights everything on fire.
Yeah. And like let us think and weigh the options of, well, bankrupting the Union was a great idea. It was a great idea. And like from a propaganda standpoint,
absolutely.
Go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the idea of, okay, they're going to have it on live TV. What if they crash? You know what I mean? Like, what if there was like way more could go wrong than would go right?
There was a lot there.
Yeah.
There was a lot there.
And it's like, wow, we nailed it the first time.
Yeah.
And then we like nailed it the next like 6 except for Apollo 13.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, okay, a little snafu.
Yeah.
You know? And like that might have been just to get a little drama.
You never know. You never know. Yeah.
Interdimensional too. That's the other thing.
100%. So what were we talking about before that?
Exponential growth.
Okay, exponential growth. Yes.
And the idea of, like for me, I have gone from, and I'm sure you probably are preaching this sort of thing all the time, where it's, I'm the bottleneck.
Right.
And you go from being a one-man band or a solo artist or whatever to incrementally bringing on people to, you know, take task X and then, you know, duty Y and then all of these. And then all of a sudden it's like everything's kind of spread out, but everything's getting bigger. But yet still, I would always have this death grip on everything.
Right, absolutely.
And the idea, but now I'm obsessed with the idea of personnel. And I was talking to Lance this morning, and it's like, okay, dude, I think if we had an army of virtual assistants that literally just are posting, and because you know I've got years upon years upon years of content that is just there.
Right.
Oh, speaking of, I got one to show you. So like and congrats on the YPN Summit.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was awesome.
So as an experiment, I shot that just a single angle.
Yeah.
And ambient mic. So I got the audio. So I cleaned it all up.
Yeah.
And then I ran it through the wood chipper. Yeah. And so it came out with like 50 nuggets.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
And because it's like, that's one where I wouldn't tell you before I do it in case it sucked.
Right. Like, oh yeah, no, no.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, dude, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and then look at it and go, oh my god, that's horrible. Because then I've overpromised, and then it's like, whoops.
Yes.
But the beauty of the technology now is I can go in and then I learned a couple of things too. So I'm very much now into the idea of like, okay, event video, but making it a little bit more almost smaller, if that makes sense. So like there, I shot you at one angle. Right. So in a perfect world, I'd have two angles or whatever. So note to self. But to be able to, on the back end, clean that up and then all of a sudden have AI and everything else dive in, chop it up, and out of the other end comes like 47 clips
which is perfect.
Like coherent, thoughts and everything. It's like, oh shit, that was good. And then to market that, I'm like, okay, that's good. Well, and that brings me right back to, well, they're just added another 47 potential posts and clips or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well then I said to Lance this morning, I'm like, dude, I think we need somebody that all they do is all 6 or 8 platforms all day, just post something. Yes. And then for the clients that we manage, because I have a handful of clients that we manage their accounts, and I've done all their content for years. Yeah. So there's another immense, like, dude, now you and I, we have a massive back catalog of however many, probably close to 100 hours of shows that can be chopped up.
Absolutely.
And that's probably...
And drive traffic.
Yeah.
Are you using Miracle? Miracle is a really cool platform for multiple posting and watching, gauging everything.
So I need to look into that because when it's like you've got the VA thing down where like you have one person, right, that does the social content or...
So there's a couple different people that do different aspects of it, but yeah.
Okay. So this is one of the things that I like talking about in the sense of where it's tactical versus
So here's what's cool about our social, right? And I'll open up the commode here. So here's what's interesting. So there's people that are paying $2,000, $3,000 a month for someone to be like managing their account. Like, I get 2 posts a week or whatever it is, right? And by the way, it's also very tough to get someone to speak in your language. Like that takes a minute.
Yes.
So what we have now is we have a whole team. So one guy, AJ, who's amazing, and he does all the video editing. So literally 40 hours a week, he does video editing, right? And 40 hours, it's like, have you ever sat down and tried to edit a Reels for, like, it takes a minute.
Yes.
Right? It takes way longer than you think it does, especially to do it right. So he's editing stuff all the time. And then the other key person is Lydia helps kind of drive some of that, but Pam does a lot of it. So one of the things that Pam does is she's kind of curating it, right? So she's creating a map for like, hey, here's the next month the content we want to do, adjusting it, tweaking it, watching it. But the best thing she does for me is she goes into, and we use Monday.com, which is like Asana, but she goes into Monday and there's a whole list of like Wayne's to-dos. So one of the tabs in there, and it says like, hey, record this video, here's the wording, or here's the inspirational video. So like, she'll like, hey, record a video just like this, and I'll click on it, and it's some guy dancing or somebody doing whatever it is. I literally just do that thing. Right?
Okay, so the ones I'm seeing, like where you're doing like the little viral gimmicks or whatever. Okay.
Oh, I think people are like, how did you come up with that? I don't come up with that. Like, right. I'm not sitting on Instagram for 3 hours a day like is required.
You're not.
You know what I mean? Like somebody's got to sit there and go like, what's trending, what's not, what's funny, what's not. So I literally go in there. She's like, hey, shoot this, and the next video is like, hey, say this. Next video, shoot this. Next video, say this. It's all right there. I literally just record it. I dump it into our Google Drive. Just date it. I dump it into our Google Drive. I don't edit it. I don't take out the blank space in the beginning. I don't do any of that. I just upload it, and then a week later or 3 weeks later or whatever that day, whatever I see it done. So that's the key of the team. And now we have Kelsey, who's helping build some of the brand awareness stuff on multiple different platforms and drive that. And then we have Larry, who does a lot of like the funnels and all the other kind of stuff. But here's what's cool. For the cost of paying one service, years ago, I can have like 3 or 4 people that are doing all of that for me right now. And what I love is like it's consistent. It's happening. I don't have to babysit them, right? It's going on. But it's not an option anymore. Every person is a social media company. And if you can't figure that out, it's It's a problem.
You are your brand.
Yes.
And, one of the things I love about the stuff we're doing here that's just organic, there's tons of content that comes out. So it's like, we're not like exactly what you said. Now we're kind of doing this in the macro where it's like we sit down and ramble for, 40 minutes or whatever. And it's like, okay, if you pan for gold, there's probably at least like,
it's probably one good thing in there.
Or like 4 minutes and 37 seconds worth of stuff.
Absolutely.
And, the computer will find that.
Yeah.
So, but being able to have, and then like I was telling you earlier, where Teresa Flood came in yesterday, total rock star.
Amazing.
And she did minimum preparation, nothing more than topic, bullet points or whatever. But she dialed it in where in 8 minutes, it was super nutrient dense. It was like a vitamin shot at the doctor. Pow, where you go like, damn, I feel like that was almost got me high. It's like, oh no, those are real vitamins. It's not the Flintstone chewable. But it was that where it was like, and as I'm watching, so I'm always fascinated by, I love making the content and just kind of goofing around or whatever, but I'm also fascinated by like, okay, that was 7 minutes and 40 seconds that she did of just like powerhouse stuff.
That's awesome.
And then out of that, okay, that could be splintered into 5 little, individual thought processes. Okay, now you've got 5 pieces to drive traffic back to the thing and just kind of just dogpiling all of that stuff. And I wanted to start, so like one of my things I'm going to put out there to manifest is where we get everybody that is involved with the Studio USA universe. Because now, like, you did the retreat there over at Studio West, where we have that facility. And I tell you, Lance and I went in there a couple of Saturdays ago, and we figured out we can live stream and do everything from that room. From the training room. Yes. And so it's like, okay, I want like you, Michelle, Ashley, Christy, everybody to kind of like do like a summit, like the Studio USA, so like something to kick off the year. And it's like, I'm kind of thinking of this right now. It's like, it's been percolating in the back of my mind, and all of a sudden it just like, pow, jump to the front, where we do like, I don't know, like a 4-hour gimmick or something, you know? Kind of like the summit maybe, where we kind of copy off that paper a little bit, where we do, because I don't want it to be like, you know how it is, where there's like the generic realtor topics, where it's like everybody almost feels like when you get your license, or if you are an affiliate or whatever, you're required to do these kind of events. So it's like, I don't want it to be like business planning, and then you give everybody a calendar or a Cowboys thing or whatever. It's like, okay, I want it to be a little bit more individualized, or individualized from meaning the participants. Where like, okay, so like if you got 20 minutes, boom, get up there and hit them. And then like see if we can fill the room, because we could probably get 40 people in there, I would think, maybe roughly, say 35. 35 in the room, but then as many as we can to watch online, and then carve all of that. So like if we had like a 4-hour deal, okay, well now we can carve that up after the fact.
Very cool.
And everybody that's there gets to use that. And it's like, I want to continue the spider webbing of creators, content, locations, all of that stuff. And, I'm super stoked for 2025, and I'm thinking like, whoa, dude, I think we have turned a big corner, and DFW was already predicted to be the number one market in the country. Which like, okay, let's go. And then, I told you my little secret that I got, that I can't tell anybody yet.
I can't wait to jump on that. Yep.
So I'm thinking like, okay, that's a good jump off. That's a good launching pad for 2025. And so like, now, are you working on anything new for 2025?
So I love what you asked though, like earlier. It was like sitting down, and you were kind of going through some of those questions. What I wrote down was like, better, more, or new. And I think that's a great way to look at it, right? Like kind of do a SWOT analysis, right? Like strengths, weaknesses, whatever. And then I think it's great to sit down and think about that. Like, what do we need? Like, where would we get what would be the easiest, biggest lift? Is it doing better? Is it doing something new? Right? Or is it doing more of something? And I think as high achievers, we kind of want to do all three. But we only have so much capacity. So I think it's looking at those and go, okay, what would give us the biggest list? Is it doing something better? And Unreasonable Hospitality is a great book that talks about how, like, you don't need a bunch of new customers in a sense. Just get phenomenal with the ones you have, right? Love that philosophy. Yes. That's not for everybody, right? That may not be the thing for everybody, but that's great. For other people, it's like, do I need something new, right? Do I need have I kind of, I can always do better, but if I kind of maximize this, I just need to do something new. Or do I just need to do more of, right? Like maybe maybe I need to cut away some of the other stuff and just do more lead generation or more of these calls and more whatever. But I'd love sitting down and kind of looking at that framework in your business, right? Do I need better, new, or more? And, get down and go, hey, with my money, what do I need to do with my time, with our leads? I think it's great to sit down and look at that.
Well, I like that even for maybe even like an overarching thing, theme of like if we did like an event or a little like symposium or whatever. Because I'm trying to think of, ways to get everybody involved where I just like, because it was what you were saying, because I see these things and I get FOMO.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, everybody's in the room. And then I saw the thing with you and Bettina and everything. I'm like, oh man, and it's like, there's the part where it's like, I want to be a fly on the wall, but it's like, okay, well, it's not a fly on the wall kind of a thing. You got to come in and you got to you got to get in the ring.
Yeah.
You got to get in the ring. And it's like, okay, well, I have yet, like the only days, and this is so weird, and I don't know, I'm probably one of the few people where I look forward to the holidays,
right?
Where it's like, I know that like, okay.
I mean, have some days I can just do stuff. I get in the back office.
Yes.
Well, and I think for you're going to need to start carving out like CEO time, which is like, hey, I take an afternoon or a day or whatever it is each week where you carve out time to just work on the business and not in the business.
Yes.
And you're going to have to start carving out that time. But I think what helps is when you get really intentional about what you want to do within that time, helps you kind of defend it a little better. But you're going to need more time like in the cockpit doing the CEO time.
And like, I'm sure I'm not the only one to ever feel like, oh man, that week of Thanksgiving, I feel like I get so much done. And that like everybody, it's almost like I start running when everybody else stops or gets tired. It's like, and it's this weird thing where, and I also look forward to Christmas where it's like, okay, do the thing on Christmas Day or whatever, and then I'm free and clear. And to be able to, like, there's nothing I like better, like the Sunday morning after Thanksgiving where everybody's just wiped.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, dude, I'm going to get so much done today. And then I have that whole carryover from what I had just done.
Yep.
And now that I have the brick and mortars and everything, and it's like I can actually plan. And I'm not sure why I feel better about, and I'm sure it has some sort of weird hustle porn mental thing or whatever, where it's like, I feel better about working those times than if I put in a 15-hour day on just a random Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. And then I saw this other thing on my feed where it was, there's something about, and I don't know if this is a Puritan work ethic or if this is like just a Western culture thing, where to get a certain level of success, it should hurt.
Yeah.
That like if you don't suffer enough,
right? Yes.
Along the way, that you haven't earned it, or it isn't your. And I'm like, I don't even know where that came from, but like the dude saying that, I'm like, bro, like wow, that's in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we need to, but sometimes it can't come easy. Sometimes it can be simple. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do get a payoff for everything you've done. So we just have to be careful. Like you said, that's why like when we say what's the easiest way to get a 20% lift is a weird framework for us, but I think it's important to ask.
Yes. Well, and to tie it into recovery, at one point in time, I saw this dude who had like, I don't know, 40 some years of sobriety or whatever. And then somebody said something to me and goes, oh man, it was hard till it was easy. And I just walked away going like, okay, in a weird way, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then something else happened, and it was like you said, where I got a payoff for a thing that I think part of it too is not doing things with the anticipation of a payoff. Mm-hmm. So then if and when it ever does pay off, it's almost like a pleasant surprise. Yeah. It's like, like an Easter egg in a movie, like, oh, check that out.
Absolutely.
Completely different mentality of where I was when I started. Yeah. Where it was like, and the idea of working on fill in the blank with no promise that any of it's ever going to succeed or that it's ever going to turn into anything. And then when it does, it's like, wow, okay. Then it becomes easier to keep going.
For sure.
But I'm in this weird place now where it's like, okay, well now I went from the realization of like, okay, I'm the bottleneck, to then, okay, now we're widening now to Mickey's Big Mouth. Now we're like, able to take big gulps or whatever, to now I want to get it to where, well, who else can we bring in the boat, and who else can we like bring along? And then it's that whole thing of like putting the team, like the Avengers together or whatever. Cause I don't think I've talked to you since, or maybe once or twice, but the Women Who Win, the event that that the gals did, I was like, I'm sitting in there, dude, and there's like tchotchkes and gimmicks on the table.
Oh, they did awesome. All their stuff.
Yeah, and it was like from the logo, from the thing that was an offshoot of you and me doing this.
Yeah, it's
because
amazing.
That came whenever we interviewed Michelle, you know, and then next thing I know, I'm at Metrotex and there's 80 women in the room, and it's like, how did this? And then to watch them, and then like now they're BFFs, and it's like, wow, okay. I am terrible in domestic situations, but apparently in this, I'm good at this.
Ready to go.
Yeah, woo. So let's put that on our manifestation calendar. Let's put it on our dream board.
Absolutely, on the dream board. I got to update my dream board.
Maybe I'll make one, dude. That's what we'll do one of these days. We'll come in and we'll show our dream board.
Hey, absolutely. My daughter made one the other night. It was awesome.
Well, now that I would encourage. I would encourage. It's just I saw The Secret. You know, like in 2000, and like 2007 or whenever that came out, because it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, and I was newly sober, and everything had fairy dust on it, and everything was just magical. And it's like, I'm just gonna sit here and like think of a Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I gotta go do it.
Yeah. No, it turns out I gotta. Turns out I gotta do stuff.
Yes.
Well, anything coming up on the immediate radar?
Man, I think that the thing I'm most excited about is just seeing everyone do a handful of really important, like make it like the next 30, 40 days, make it simple, get clear on the handful of things you want to do, right? So like, I don't need to do everything, but what are the 2 or 3 things I need to do consistently so that I'm in momentum going into 2025? And I think that's the key, is like get the plan down, get clear on where you want to go, get some clear objectives, and then do the 2 or 3 really simple things to get in momentum going into 2025 so you can be present, but know that you got lift going into that year. And I think on the coaching front, I'm excited. We're doing more of coaching and some implementation, kind of like you're doing. Like you're coaching, but then you're also like, hey, we'll help you do that.
Tactical. Right?
So like I think I see more of that in the future for us too. Like I know you're doing like, hey, we'll shoot the video, but then we're also going to help you do the posting and everything else. Kind of, all the stuff that you guys are doing. And I think we're seeing more of that because it's getting more and more complicated. Right? So now I'm having someone come in and I can tell them what to do, but we're also adding some components of like, okay, and we'll help you do that. Or hey, I've got the person that we're going to bring into camp. So like some different things like that. So I think that would be really helpful.
I love it when it's a combination of the done with you and done for you.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit more need for done with you, especially in the next little while.
I love it.
It'd be good.
So all right, so we're going to put it on our little dream board manifestation.
Absolutely, I'm going to update mine.
The Studio USA Summit. Oh, I like that. I'm going to steal the YPN Summit. Yeah, the Studio USA Summit.
That's really good.
There we go.
Ooh. And just have like 20 TED Talks in a row.
Yes.
Boom, 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 boom.
And
boom,
like,
boom.
let's just bring in all the badasses.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'll just sit back there and aim the camera.
By the way, our book comes out this week. Rethink Everything. My client, Tommy Clifford, put together this amazing book on CRMs. And it is the best one I've ever seen. He's got all these different authors like Kyle Draper and all these other people that have put into it, right? Mike Fram, all these other ones. So it's really phenomenal because that's the biggest regret of most business owners. They didn't build their CRM or their database early enough. They didn't know what to do. It's got really complicated also. So that book, I believe, comes out this week or next week. So I got to write the forward to that, and it's really cool. So I'm excited about that. I can't believe I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
okay.
I'm really excited
about that. I'll be looking out for that.
Yeah, there's a
Christmas. And it's funny
reading.
Did you mention that because we just sent our first talking. Man, talk about like it all dovetails. We just sent our first blast to the client, the customer base or whatever about hey, be sure to, whenever we're making all the content for you, be sure to like and follow our pages because we want to, as a part of our marketing, we want to market the marketing that we've done with you.
Yes.
And so, but like it's like, okay, that went out to like whatever, 500 people or whatever. And I'm like,
the marketing company should do some marketing for the marketing company.
Right, about marketing.
About marketing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So everyone, market your marketing.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Go get fired up.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I needed that.
Well,